In today's video, we're going to talk about how we're going to convert this 4x2x4 enclosure into a bioactive Chinese water dragon setup. Hi everybody, I'm Randy, and I'm the founder and CEO of Zen Habitats. And since 2017, we've made thousands of enclosures for happy reptiles and their owners. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel for updates on other Zen Habitats products. If you already have one of our enclosures, make sure to join our Zen Habitats fan page on Facebook or tag us at Zen Habitats on Instagram. So as we're building out this enclosure, we want to pay attention to the needs of our Chinese water dragon. So there's several things we have to do. One, we want it bioactive, so we're going to need a drainage layer, proper soil, and proper drainage. And then we're also going to make sure we have a large water feature, which we'll get into in just a minute. And we have to have vines and, I hit the screen people. We're going to have vines and plants that help increase height so that it has the ability to climb because they are arboreal. So we're going to make sure we pay attention to all three of those functions. We will make sure that we list as many of the products that we're using in this build in the description box below, so make sure to check that out. So let's get into the build. So the first thing is with the Chinese water dragon, they require very high humidity, upwards of 80%. And so we had to make sure we're using a PVC panel enclosure, which can handle the humidity, will not cause any damage to the framing or the panels whatsoever. However, the enclosure itself is not waterproof. So the first thing that we need to do is use our bio basin. Our bio basin is a plastic basin that goes on the bottom of the enclosure that helps trap all the water inside the enclosure and doesn't allow it to seep out any of the seams of the enclosure itself. So our bio basin comes with this double-sided tape, and what this allows you to do is just keep the basin in place so it doesn't shift while you're putting the soil in. You can choose to use it or not, but I'm going to go ahead and install it on the front of the enclosure to keep that basin nice and clean. So the next step for this build is to add the aquarium. And in this case, we're going to use a 20-gallon log and place it right in front. Perfect. Next, we need to add the drainage layer for the soil, right, for the bioactive soil. And a lot of people use the clay balls for that, which are great, but I found them to be a little bit heavy. And I found these pond filter balls that I think work amazing. So this is what I'm going to use, very lightweight, and it can go ahead and help keep the water and the soil separated so no mildew or mold grows within the soil. So now that we have the drainage layer in, we're going to use a screen right on top of that. And that's going to keep the soil away from the drainage layer, away from the water, and that way, again, no mold, no mildew building up underneath. So I'm going to go ahead and lay this down here. We did cut it to size. You may notice we had a little boo-boo, so we're just going to put a little tape on that part, but it'll fit perfectly. So one thing that we forgot to show earlier is actually the drainage layer drain. So a lot of times you want to be careful if your drainage layer doesn't build up too much water, and if it does, you have to drain it. Most people will drill holes in the side of the enclosure, but instead of doing that, we just took a PVC pipe, cut out some little notches on the bottom here, and put a screen on top. And if I have to drain the water out of the bottom of the enclosure, I just simply remove that, put in a siphon, and siphon out all the excess water. So what we decided to do with the soil is start off a little bit low on this end and then gradually build it up so that when our Chinese water dragon needs to get in and out of the water, they have a nice safe place to do so. So now we're going to add our reptile safe plants and vines to the enclosure. And I'm going to start off with this hanging plant right above the aquarium. And that way it gives the Chinese water dragon a place to climb up onto and then drop into the water anytime they feel so inclined. So now that we have the plants and the vines in, I think that looks pretty good for a Chinese water dragon. We're also going to decorate the aquarium, and I got a couple pieces here that I really liked. This one here is going to go right in this corner, something like that. And that's going to allow the Chinese water dragon to take a swim, and then when it's ready to get out, climb right up here, boom, on the vine, up it goes. Nice and cool. And I also found this little Buddha head, which I just think fits Zen perfectly, so we're going to add that to the aquarium as well. Now there's a couple more steps we need to do, and one is to add our cleanup crew. We've ordered it, it's on the way, it'll be here before the Chinese water dragon, so we'll add that as soon as they arrive, and that just helps clean up the enclosure. Anytime the water dragon has waste, the cleanup crew will take care of it, break it all down, and provide more nutrients for the plants. Second thing is we're going to add some leaf litter to help hold the moisture inside the soil, so that's something very helpful. Again, it's on the way, it didn't arrive in time for filming, but we will have it when the Chinese water dragon gets here. And then the third is we need to fully set up the aquarium. Once we move the enclosure into its final location, we will set up all the lighting and heating and everything for this enclosure. And another thing that we're going to do is, we know that we have a juvenile for now, so this is going to be a perfect size. But as it grows, we're actually going to expand this into a 10-foot by 4-foot by 2-foot enclosure. And so we're going to add a lot more plants and soil and different things for it to interact, climb, which will provide a more enriching environment for our new baby. So we finally got our Chinese water dragon and we named him Ming. And instead of putting him into the large 4x2x4 enclosure, which would just really be too big for him right now, we decided to set up a 2x2x2 enclosure, fully bioactive. Everything he needs is right here in this little space. So we've got the vines, we've got cork, we've got live plants, we've got a little swimming area, everything again for him to thrive in this environment. And once he gets big enough, we're gonna move him over to our 4x2x4 enclosure. So let's check that out. So we finally have our enclosure in the reptile room, and we've added a few things since our last filming. So 3 things we've added. 1, a cleanup crew, so that's going to clean up, break down any animal or plant matter in the enclosure. We added some additional plants and some leaf litter, really to create a nice inviting environment for Ming when he's ready to move over here. And 3rd, we've added some guppies and a filtration system into our aquarium. So we have a nice aquarium. It's filled with live plants and guppies, so that when Ming's ready to move over, it's going to be a nice established colony that he can kind of play with and interact with. So make sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram to see updates of Ming when he does finally move into this big enclosure. And for more information, check us out at zenhabitats.com. You can also sign up for our newsletter right there on the site. You can find us on Facebook, and we have a great fan group available for you. And finally, check us out on Instagram at Zen Habitats. Now don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. And check out our other videos. We have great videos on frequently asked questions, new products, and assembly instructions. Thanks for watching, everybody.